It recognizes our belief in God, our country, not just individuals, our country, our founding fathers codified this in the documents that founded this country. Our reliance, our belief in God, and our reliance upon God. Of that, there's just no debate on that. You may like it, may not like it. Declaration of Independence, we find these truths to be self-evident, that we are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, of which are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. It goes on in the Constitution to say we are putting together this Constitution in a preamble to secure the blessings, not only for ourselves, for posterity. And that Constitution followed with a Bill of Rights that enumerated those godly rights given to man, including the very first one, which was a right to believe in God and to express that belief anytime, anywhere, including the public square.
33 million. It's proven to the money investors that people want something to feed their souls, not just their worst desires.
Absolutely.
And
yes, indeed.
This kind of sums up my entire dialogue career on the heat of the night. You ready for this? Okay, this is it. My 7 years on the heat of the night. My dialogue all summarized in this. Get right on it, Chief.
But Bubba's my name. I like my iced tea sweet and my women the same. I'm your brown-haired badge here in little old Sparta, but nobody's bigger or tougher or smarter. If you're looking to fight, best not be with me. Wanna be held tight? Well, now we'll just see. You never know in the heat of the night on TNT. Heat of the night on TNT. Now I don't put on any airs, but then I ain't no slob. Just a redneck boy with a blue-collar job. The ladies I date, they gonna have 'em some fun, 'cause I'm a big hunk of crime fighting son of a gun. So if you're looking to fight, come on up in the ring. You wanna be held tight, just about anything can happen in the heat of the night on TNT. Hubba, 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 heat of the night on TNT. Yeah.
It recognizes our belief in God, our country, not just individuals, our country, our founding fathers codified this in the documents that founded this country. Our reliance, our belief in God, and our reliance upon God. Of that, there's just no debate.
Don't step on my opening here, guys.
From NFL quarterback to Hollywood to the mayor's office. And now, behind the mic at KXEX, this is the Alan Autry Show. No retreat.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
What the hell's going on out here? Everybody grabbing out there. Nobody. That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
So, find
seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX.
And welcome to Alan Autry Show. Alan Autry No Retreat, otherwise known as Taco Tuesday. So look forward to this day because I get to share this mic in this 1 hour. Not all with y'all, which I truly treasure, but also the fellow to my right, Bullet Bob Leone.
Hello, Hoss.
And Sorrentalot Guillermo Moreno, who you get to listen to every day here, most of every day, from 4 to 6. Right?
Yeah, I'm ready to not shut up.
2 hours. 2 hours.
2.
Yeah. Did you guys like the show yesterday? Well, how much was it? 45 minutes talking about 8-foot aliens?
Yeah.
The Dan Bongino believes are out there. I listened to the show.
Yeah.
I think
we got a nighttime show going. We can do midnights.
I think it's one of the most consequential shows we have ever done.
The guy that used to do.
I mean,
overnight.
If those 8-foot
years ago
giant aliens. Hey, you guys listen to me.
Sorry, go ahead.
You guys over there having a sidebar. It's my show.
All right, back.
Hey, by the way,
pay attention to me.
Back to the Alan Autry show now.
I don't.
Oh, you
the
call
Autry
them
attitude.
Oh, I don't. I don't. But I'm sorry, I'm a little scattered here because Guillermo, right before the show came on. And by the way, Jeremy, look at we got to always let Chewy in. He gets his feelings hurt. Well, when you get Chewy ready to go, he waits every Tuesday to be a part of the show, and he's a loyal listener from the get go. And we don't want to forget him. Ensenada Chewy will be coming on soon here, but Guillermo is over there drinking this gosh awful stuff. It just looks like sludge
like dirt
out of out of a sewer in Brooklyn. And he's drinking this and making these awful faces. And then he's got a bigger bottle that looks to me like, seriously, it looks like my son's baby poop when he was like 4 months old. I'm not kidding you, Bob. Look at that. Look at that right there. It's the same color.
Hey, this is just,
and you once again, tell us what's going on here.
I'm trying to detox from caffeine.
You're trying to give up caffeine.
I'm trying to go all natural. So,
Guillermo,
do you drink a lot of coffee?
A lot.
Really?
But Guillermo, we are
radio does that to you.
Yeah, it does.
We're not interesting enough as it is. We give up caffeine. Nobody's going to listen.
Boring.
What's wrong with you?
Well, I don't. Well, let's
Were
see
you
if it
staying
works.
up at night? Were you having trouble sleeping?
No, I sleep really well. I just got to keep. I got to keep going. I got to have.
Were you getting jittery?
No,
man.
I say stick to the caffeine.
Well, why you quit? What's the problem? How many? Well, how many cups of coffee equivalent do you think you were drinking?
A day?
Yeah,
about 4.
Oh,
4.
You want to hear a story? When
4.
When I was doing
you're
overnight.
saying quattro.
Yeah.
4 cups.
How does it feel to be ignored, Bobby? I'm not listening to you one bit. Go ahead.
4.
I'm not going to play you.
4.
Go ahead.
But I got a lot of sugar.
I'm respecting you as part of this show, the middleman. Go. Tell us.
When I was doing radio 150 years ago, working overnights. Now, you don't think you need coffee for overnights, right? I'd make a pot of coffee when I got there, drink it.
The whole pot.
Make another pot of coffee, and drink almost that whole pot of coffee, and then try to go home and go to sleep after 9 or 10 cups of coffee.
Yeah, I did that on the heat of the night.
Yeah.
I would put down on an average 8-hour shoot, I would put down 10, 11 cups.
Yeah.
No, that was
way.
too much. Oh, gosh.
No
yes.
way.
I got so predictable that the gal who was working for me there had an assistant. Actually, one time I had an assistant. And that's when the show was doing really good. But she would come out and she would have it there for me. I wouldn't even break stride. I'd pick it up, and then she had me timed out perfectly.
That is awesome.
You know, and then my cup would run out. There would be the other one.
No way.
Fixed exactly like I like it, black with just a couple of drops of cream. Okay, in place of that, folks, I'm gonna tell the folks what are you drinking?
Some shot that only has apple, lemon, matcha, and guarana. Guarana. I say that right? Guarana?
Guarana with the wind.
Yeah. I have no idea what that is. It could be poop for all I know.
Well, no, I know what guarana is.
Oh, you do?
That's going to hit your nervous system worse than caffeine.
No way.
Jeremy's going, no, yeah. It hit me.
Really?
Oh, gosh, yes. Guarana's just...
That'll probably keep you regular, though. So that's good.
Guarana is caffeine before it transitioned.
Now you're saying there's more than one caffeine?
Yeah, you can transition, but you're still you're still hyped. Yeah, you're still somewhat what you were before.
So I should be.
It is caffeine light, but it's still
It's caffeine light.
Well, it's supposed to be different product, but it'll jack you up.
Is it really?
Oh gosh, yes.
Oh, now you got me afraid.
Dr. Autry speaking.
I went the Guarana route. I went Guarana with the win for a while. Yeah, after Heat of the Night, and
he doesn't know what it is, does he?
I certainly do.
You do not know.
I know enough to stay away from it. I'll take my chances with a Red Bull. No, I don't.
I'm pretty sure this is healthier than the Red Bull.
I don't drink Red Bulls. I tried one time.
Well, that stuff's tough.
Oh my gosh,
word.
I thought my heart was going to blow out. I think I was like 64 at the time, Bobby. I was a 64-year-old man trying a Red Bull for his first time.
It gives you wings.
Let me see what those kids like about this thing. And then I drank it like I normally did a beer. I had no use for it. Hey, guy would ask me, friend, hey, let's go have a beer. A beer? There's no fun in having a beer. I never had a beer in my life. Let's go down and have like 2 or 3 6-packs. I'd throw those chuggy just like an 8. My mom used to get on me, Carl Salad, you're eating too fast. You got to chew your food. Well, I took that Red Bull like I did anything else. I threw that sucker back. And then I'm sitting there going, after about 2 minutes, they go, how you feeling? I said, I feel fine. I feel fine. I feel we were just sitting around the house. And then at the 5-minute mark, I'm going, well, this is bogus. These kids. And then about the 7-minute mark, it hit. I'm jumping around like a flea on a hot skillet. I'm running around there, and I cannot. I'm just. My wife's looking at me going, what is wrong with you? I don't know, honey, but you're beautiful. You're beautiful. Remember, don't you? You're beautiful. I can conquer the world. I don't know why they don't hire me anymore. I want to do Heat of the Night, too. I want to go write the script right now. Boom, boom, boom. And then I start writing the script, and about 90 minutes in,
it wears off.
Oh, my head's on the old laptop like that. Forehead down, going, what the heck hit me? So that was my experience with Red Bull. Never.
That's
man.
All right.
By the way,
go ahead.
We have a birthday today.
You bet we do. Well, Jeremy's birthday today, folks.
Our engineer.
I know Autry's Army's so happy to hear that out there. Hey, happy birthday.
You know how old he is?
12.
He's 28 years old.
He just looks 12.
Do you remember? Do you remember when you were 28?
Huh?
Guillermo said,
Yes,
do you
I
remember you were 28, Bullet Bob? I said, I don't remember when I was 68. Are you?
I can't remember what I had for breakfast.
Exactly.
No, it's 28.
What year was that?
Still wet behind the ears, boy.
Let's see, that
95.
Whoever came up with that saying?
That would have been 19.
That's one of those sayings.
What?
Wet behind the ears. I just said it and have no idea what. I mean, you're still
Where
wet.
did that come from?
Have you ever heard of that, Guillermo?
Wet behind the ears? Yeah.
That means, you're immature.
Just a
still
kid.
young.
Just a kid.
What is wet behind the ears?
Well, I got to look at it. Remember, I told you what sleep tight meant?
You did.
And your mind was you're like,
well, Jeremy's far from being still wet behind his. The guy just keeps this show going.
He
Appreciate
does.
you, Jeremy.
Does a great job.
God
Happy
bless
birthday,
you.
Jeremy.
Happy birthday. And we couldn't do this show without
Even though you're only 28.
Okay, let's look at the. It happened, folks. It happened. 37 counts against the former president of the United States. And yes, they made history. You turn on all of these TV channels, they are just obsessed with making history. The first president in history to be indicted. The first president in history that may go to jail for the rest of his life, as if this is some kind of badge of honor for them. Folks, I've said before, and if you've listened to this show or seen or heard anything I've said or written, you know I'm not enamored with Donald Trump. He didn't come up with the effectiveness of lower taxes, the common sense of a secure border, coming up with the dangers of inflation, and you don't want to institute inflationary problems on the country. The first one that came up with peace through strength. He's not the first president that came up with energy independence and law and order. Those are basic conservative principles that not just conservative, every common sense individual, if you believe in a civil society, embrace. But they're running these victory laps thinking, boy, if we stop Trump, all of these ideals, all these principles will go away. My question to you, I am so cynical about this whole thing. 37 counts, Guillermo and Robert, for, hold on to your seats now, mishandling documents. Mishandling documents. It's like, we're going to send you to the gas chamber, a basketball player, because you mishandle the basketball. You dribbled it out of bounds or what have you. And people go, oh, Autry, those were sensitive documents. No, listen, if they're on paper anywhere in the White House, where somebody can take out the old Maxwell Smart camera, take a picture, and send it off. No. Guillermo, start with you and go to Ron. My question is, I think we all agree, as we talked about the other day, that this is a mountain out of a molehill. This is clearly a political vendetta to try to take Joe Biden's top rival, the presidency, out of the race. But do you think secretly, or maybe even not too secretly, very openly, very apparent, that the left would love this protest? And there's not that many people there, but there's people who are looking at the screen right now. Wouldn't they just love another January 6th event to happen? They're saying, oh, we don't want this to happen, that happen for the greater good of the country. And I'm so cynical about these folks. I'm saying, no, they'd like nothing better. Say, see, that's what Trump supporters do. They're violent. They're MAGA. Yep. They're white supremacists. Go ahead. Get your opinion.
Yeah, now that's what they want. I think there's so many pitfalls that they're hoping either the president will give in and cave and say, okay, fine, I will never seek federal office. Or before this, they probably said, hopefully some of those really bad MAGA racist people will show up and they'll start taking over Miami. And it literally looks like a farmer's market right outside the courthouse.
So it really does.
So what do you figure? A couple hundred people there?
Yeah, they're selling T-shirts.
Where's my Aunt Gladys?
Yeah. Yeah,
with a bag.
Ooh, those apples
full
look
of apples.
good.
Yeah, give me some guarnara, for Guillermo out there. So, it looks like a farmer's market. The reality is they're hoping something will stick to this man, and it's not going to happen. I want to liken it to like this. What if you knew two friends, and they both committed the same crime, and one of them, people just hated, and he got picked up and charged, and the other one, everybody knows they both did the same crime. And I think people in real life would say that's unfair.
And
that's what this is.
Yeah. And which begs the question. I said on the show yesterday, how dumb does the left, people that are way up in this administration that are advising Biden, think not only that Republicans and independents are, but their own constituents.
Well, Jeff Foxworthy had that show. Was it Jeff Foxworthy? No, who was it? Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader?
Yeah,
Foxworthy.
Let's just be real. If they were to ask basic questions to the American people, they wouldn't know half of the questions. So I think a little bit. I don't want to say that our and maybe many of you will disagree. I'm not saying America's IQ is low. We're just low in information. We don't care to do the research. We don't care to do anything. If we see a salacious headline and we agree with it, we're going to pass that as fact.
Robert,
we talked about that.
But let me ask you this: maybe they left. We're missing. Maybe they know what they're doing is increasing Trump's popularity, but they believe because every time they do something like this, his poll numbers go up. Mm-hmm. He pulls farther and farther away from DeSantis. Could it be that they want the outcome to be Donald Trump as the nominee? Because they feel that Biden's beat him once, that the public, when they get alone in that voting booth, and they have enough drop boxes and enough ballot harvesting to go along with that they can get enough independents to say, look, this is just too bizarre for me. And they would like Trump to be the nominee, that maybe they're scared of a DeSantis-Biden or DeSantis-Newsom matchup more than a Trump.
Yeah,
I don't know, Haas. I don't.
Am I overthinking it?
Are they? I don't know that they would go that far. They want this guy out of here so bad. They're not going to let any of this die. He's got how many cases that are pending now? He's got the New York case. He's going to have the Georgia case pending. He's got this one now. They want to keep this guy in the news, and they want to make sure that the banner headline on the bottom, Trump pleads not guilty to all 37 charges, is front and center forever. But I still go back to my comment the other day, which may have been somebody told me, "Man, that was a reach," when I talked about Stalin and Pol Pot and Hitler trying to get rid of their enemies, their political enemies. I still think this is a much deeper rooted situation of literally just trying to eliminate the highest, the potential nominee for the GOP. I think this is just that they're pushing this so hard to get rid of this guy.
So you're subscribing to what we talked about at the beginning. You know,
exactly.
That if they, in their mind, their equation is no more Trump, no more real conservatism as we know it from Trump.
Yeah. Well, you talking about the IQ of the voters, right? You're probably like, man, I'm questioning now the IQ of the DNC and the party machine and all these individuals, the DOJ. Their IQ has got to be questionable in and of itself because they keep going after him and they keep throwing things thinking that it's going to affect the way people view him. So I think the IQ of the people that are doing this is awfully very low because they keep trying the same thing. I mean, you can go all the way back to the dossier, the phone call, the impeachment 1, impeachment hoax 2, what Trump calls them. Now you got the box hoax. Now, how smart are these people going after him, doing the same thing, expecting a different result? That's point number 1. Point number 2 is I do like where you're headed. I think they have a lot of insurance policies against Donald Trump. And I think one of those insurance policies is, okay, fine. If he is the candidate, that's fine. He's the better candidate to beat. So I think you're right. I don't think they want him. So they're hoping something sticks. The other insurance policy is what I just said. I think they'd rather face Donald Trump, and they being the establishment, Joe Biden, they'd rather face Donald Trump because Donald Trump, you've been in the ring with him. You know his style. You know where he's going to hit you. I'd rather go up against a fighter that I've already fought once, especially knowing that his training isn't differing. He's coming in with the exact same game plan, than going up against a younger fighter.
And hope that Trump,
absolutely,
and hope that Trump fatigue rears its head again.
Yeah.
And people just
I don't know. Would you want that again? Would you want your fiercest rival? Would you want to give him that opportunity, or would you rather go with a guy like DeSantis or whoever the nominee could be, who's 38 points behind Trump right at the moment?
Yeah, but I think go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, no, I just think what you're seeing, I talked about it on the show last week, and maybe it's part of the strategy, the left strategy. There's a growing consensus that the fence straddlers in the Republican Party that are saying, you know what, I've had enough of Trump. I'm really going to get behind DeSantis or one of the other candidates. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go that route. I think they can beat Biden if enough people get behind this particular candidate, whether it be Haley, DeSantis, Tim Scott, or somebody else that gets in. Youngkin may get in. But they feel, because as Guillermo said, the egregiousness of what's happening to this man, that they feel obligated to support Trump in a statement that says, look, I don't look like this man. I don't think maybe he's not even the greatest for the country. But what's worse for the country is to let this unfair application of the law go unchecked, unchallenged, and called out for what it is. Because this could set a precedent. You have a sitting president who worked with the National Archives to start all this mess with these documents, who then went to the DOJ. So Joe Biden was part of this. You have a political candidate, the sitting president, actively participating in the prosecution in these charges that do not rise to the level of that has taken place with the DOJ and the FBI. Anyone can see that in an attempt to put him away in prison for the rest of his life. And they're saying, what is the bigger threat to the country? Trump or this unbridled third world banana republic effort to cancel this candidate? And this is stuff that happens in Venezuela. Mm-hmm. This is stuff that happens over in the Eastern European countries. This doesn't happen in the United States. So a lot of people are having to think about that, including me.
Yeah.
I've got to make up my mind. What's a bigger threat? Do you let these people get away with this? Do you let this this travesty that would have reverberations down the line and the payback of that, this and that? Because you will have broken down every semblance of true democracy by letting unelected bureaucrats unleashed by a sitting president in the middle of an election cycle with against his top competitor.
The whole thing.
It's just stuff to sort out in your mind.
Yeah.
to make the right decision come November of next year.
Let me ask you this: do you think it is a group of people that are pulling all these strings that is the entire anti-Donald Trump candidacy, or do you think that maybe the Justice Department and the White House went rogue, and now you have the media, all the other candidates trying to play catch up? How coordinated is this attack against Donald Trump? Because I think we can all agree.
It's weak. No, they communicate just like the KKK used to communicate.
But do you think they all agree with this indictment?
The far left, the tail that's wagging the dog in that party, absolutely does.
But what
because
about the
they subscribe? Yeah. They subscribe to the notion that the only way for America to be the America they are committed to it being is to tear it down and start all over again. So that's why defund the police, the chaos in the streets, all that stuff does not bother them. Open borders doesn't bother them. Out of control inflation, seeing our status in the world deteriorate by the moment. They feel that it's so far gone. America is so evil, so non what it should be, that you have this. That's the George Soros ideology. That's the open society. Just you do away with any of the rule laws.
Still,
So you have that.
Still a racist country. Still terrible.
Right.
Everything's terrible.
Everything. So you got to tear it down, and start all over again. Now, do I feel all Democrats are like that? No. But do I think that the Democrats in office are scared to death of that small group? Yes. Why? Because they come outside your home and call you bigots. They call you racist. They call you homophobe. They come out, they will do every CEO. They would rather, hey, where's your nonprofit? Let me give you some money and go away. Oh, yeah, we subscribe to that. And it wields way, way, way too much power, as some of the smaller groups on the right historically have, decade to decade, at times had tremendous influence over the right. The KKK, listen, had more influence on Southern Democrats in the 50s and the 60s. Now, that was a small group of Southerners that were tightly organized, and they put the fear of God into elected officials, not just black people and Jews. They control the culture. They control who got elected in the South.
Well, Robert because it was a member.
Exactly, because people are confused. And for you woke people that watch the show, welcome. First of all, I love y'all. But a little history lesson. It was the Southern Democrats that fought Lyndon Johnson on the civil rights vote. It was the Republicans who came and got that legislation passed. The Republican Party was founded on racial equality, or the lack of it being in the United States. Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. They don't want to teach that in school because that goes against their narrative as Democrats good, Republicans evil. So go ahead. Yeah, just jump in here. We're freelancing here. We'll take a break in a moment here after Chewy.
There you go. Let me give you my parting thoughts on this. There are two big, gigantic, huge winners in this, Alan. You know who they are? One is the man that's being charged, is Donald Trump. He's a big winner out of this because the Republicans are going to rally. His base is going to be more on fire. Those that even thought about voting for the others, like, you know what? We got to support this guy. You know who the other big winner is? The big guy. Joe Biden. You know why he wins big? Because right now, we are in the thicket of the presidential campaign season. It has started earlier than ever. Democrat candidates cannot break through all of this noise. This benefits a Joe Biden candidacy because everybody is focused on Trump. Trump. Now, all the meanwhile, the clock is ticking. No other Democrat can really jump in the race and garner all this free media attention. So Joe Biden is just sitting there pretty because no one is talking about Joe Biden either. The fact that it's just not happening.
A little known event happened last night.
UFOs again?
No, not UFOs. I talked to Bungino. He was way off base again today. Most of the time, as I said, I agree with Dan. I love his energy. But he was off again today, but I'll talk about that later. Not today at all. But a very seemingly innocuous event happened last night that I think was the beginning of what could be a very, very important and politically earth-trembling event in terms of the political world. I think without a doubt, the Democratic Party, the DNC, has a very solid, at least in their mind, plan B that does not include Joe Biden. Because these charges, I don't know if you heard last night, Charles Grassley announced that along with that 2023 document that the FBI has, that one of their informants, one of the most trusted informants, gave them in 2017 that said that Joe Biden had made a pay-for-play deal in terms of policy with the Ukraine for about $5 to $10 million. Documents. Well, we found out yesterday, Grassley said there's audio tapes.
Wow.
There are 5 with Hunter Biden talking, incriminating with Ukrainian officials and this individual, and also 2 with Joe Biden himself. So they've heard the tapes or they wouldn't get on. So that's coming down the pike. The Democrats have to say, there's certain things that the DOJ cannot ignore anymore. And that was what they were worried about, was Republicans taking over the House, organizing release subcommittees and going after and doing a true investigation. So they have to have a plan B. And last night on Hannity, Hannity gave the hour to our governor here in California, Gavin Newsom. And I will tell you.
Did he meet the moment?
Let me just tell you one word came to mind as I watched the interview unfold. That word was formidable. This man, as crazy as his politics is, he is the spinmeister of spinmeisters.
And I said that a couple weeks ago.
You did.
I did, yeah.
And I sat down and a credit to Hannity, let him talk. It wasn't a debate, although Sean made some points there. The man can spin. He can speak. He's developed more empathy in his persona. Now, towards the end of the interview, his old nature jumped out. He became touchy. He became thin-skinned, and you could see his face turning red. And that's Gavin. He held it together and looked presidential. Sounded presidential.
Yeah.
I think he's going to enter the race. In my mind, it's a long shot that he doesn't enter the race. And if he does, the Republicans candidate better bring their A game.
Agreed.
You better bring he took every statistic that Sean put forth to him about comparisons between Florida and California. He didn't skip a beat. Never had a note. He had his spin down. It was, and if you were not knowledgeable, if you were not versed, if you hadn't done your research, he kept, as most of these guys that rise to power, Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, they look good, they talk good, they make you think you're important. And in what happened there, and I was glad to see it, is Sean challenged him to debate DeSantis one-on-one for 2 hours. Newsom accepted. So DeSantis has to accept.
Really?
And I hope he does, because and I'll ask you this one, your thoughts on this. I think DeSantis has to do that, because he didn't get a bump with his announcement on Twitter. He's just languishing out there, kind of surfing on the Florida record, just there, flourishing. But I mean, he did a great job in Florida. He's a great speaker, and they're attacking him with, well, he's just not a nice guy. The senator didn't like him because he sat next to him for a year and never talked to him. So you shouldn't vote for him. In fact, that's an issue that really matters to me. When I'm thinking about inflation, national security, I really want to know what that senator thinks about DeSantis not being a nice guy and talking to him. That means nothing to me, or anybody else really should. So the record is tough to go after. But as you said, he's just languishing. There's no bump. He needs a big debate or something like this with the big guy, and then win it. And then I hear, what's your guys' thought?
So let me,
number one, do you think he's going to get in?
Newsom?
Yes.
Oh,
no. But I think your plan B is a great option. No one's talking about, is Kamala Harris going to be Joe Biden's number 2? So I think what they're doing right now is they are preparing him for something. I don't know what it is just yet, but I don't think it's top of the ticket stuff. What I think might happen is if Joe goes away, he still has the Kamala Harris problem. Kamala Harris goes to the top of the ticket. Gavin Newsom goes to number 2. Here's the other scenario that I think is really likely. Kamala Harris has shown the entire nation how uncomfortable she is at number 2. I don't think she can handle even being number 1. I've said this from day one. I think they're waiting for a Supreme Court vacancy to get her in there. And I think that's something she would take because she does have that legal background. And she really...
Let's say nothing opens up, though, Guillermo. I agree with you on that. But what do you do with her? You're going to kick the first woman of color?
They'll make it open up. They'll make it open up. They will find. They will make a vacancy if they really want to. I think more plausible is they get Kamala Harris out of the way and they put Gavin Newsom number 2. Joe Biden goes bye-bye very quickly if they win, and you're stuck with possibly more than 8 years of Gavin Newsom. If I were a Democrat, if I were a consultant, that's how I would play it. And I would be telling Gavin right now, hey, you start doing all these interviews. You start getting in front of the nation because when we need you, we want America to be ready for you. That's number 1. Number 2, yes, presidential campaigns are about moments. That would be the moment DeSantis would need. Debate, mano a mano, Gavin Newsom one-on-one in front of CNN or a Fox audience. However, I think Gavin would beat DeSantis because Gavin, to me, has something, and I know people are going to disagree with me. I think Gavin has something that DeSantis doesn't, and that is that relatability to the common man. I haven't seen that with DeSantis yet because every time you hear DeSantis, he's like, and Gavin Newsom, he's got that. I wouldn't say he's got that Bill Clinton charisma, but to me, he's somewhere between Bill Clinton and Barack Obama. So that's where I would be afraid to debate the guy. And DeSantis won't. Guarantee you, he won't. Because I think he sees the same thing.
No, what do you think?
Well, I think if the proposition's out there, he has to, doesn't he?
Oh, well, yeah.
Doesn't DeSantis have to debate? I'll tell you what. I would love to see that.
Yeah.
That would be a great debate. And for folks who don't know about Gavin Newsom, read up on him because he's going to be a major player in this election. I think, and you talked about it months ago, Haas, that and Guillermo, you touched on it. I think that he's going to be somewhere in this administration, whether he decides to run for the presidency, for the nominee, or as VP.
Yeah.
This guy is formidable. And folks, I would just urge you to do some research about Gavin Newsom. I can't stand the guy. He's done nothing for the state of California. This is my political rant. He's done nothing for the state of California. He took a budget surplus and has drained it. And now we're 32 million
in the 30s, yeah,
in
30s,
the hole,
billion.
Billion. So that's a turnaround of $100 billion or something.
And he has a great answer for that.
Well,
it's not true.
What was his answer?
I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does. But just do your homework.
Yeah, you
on Newsom.
Yeah,
please.
Yeah, go watch the interview. Go watch. I think first
but
of all,
guy's smooth.
I don't think he'll be a VP under Harris. See, Biden doesn't run and Harris runs for president because I don't think 2 California people can win. I think there's too much anti-California sentiment out there.
Good point. Yeah,
you're
right.
I think they'd have to pick somebody else and he'd just warm up in the bullpen. I think DeSantis, it would be a slugfest, but DeSantis would win. I've seen enough of DeSantis. He's very quick on his feet, very quick, and he comes across as real solid. He's got a record to back it up. I think all this stuff. Let me put it this way: DeSantis is just as well read and got his spin as much as Newsom. He has less than. I think he will call out. You know the saying, "I call BS."
Yeah.
I think he's so sharp. I think he would eat Trump up. Newsom. Trump would try to go on his record and he'd just resort to name calling after him. A thing and bring up the Finch laundry and that's it. And they'd have a nickname for him and that would be it. But I think DeSantis could go blow for blow in a slugfest. I think he would wear Newsom down about halfway through the debate. Then Newsom with that thick skin would come to bear.
I would agree, yeah.
And his face gets red.
Yeah.
He can't when it starts slipping away and he doesn't control. But to his credit, he pulled a Pat Hill with any place, anytime, anywhere, for as long as you want, Sean Hannity. I'm ready for DeSantis.
I'd love to see it.
So DeSantis.
I'd love to see it.
And I think you guys are right. He needs to accept this.
he has.
He's got to be all in. It's the old Trump. What do you got to lose?
Yep.
Because at this pace, he has to have a game-changing moment, and his announcement went over like a fart in the elevator. On Twitter. I mean, you try to get some traction here, traction there, and you get guys like last night on CNN. Chris Christie comes out. I think Christie just hates Trump so much.
Did you see that?
But
He
he
was
had
on
some
there today.
moments there.
Oh my God.
He had some moments. No, I agree with you. I didn't buy it, but he had some moments there. People are talking more about Christie than they are DeSantis.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back. We're going to go from federal to local. Our Mayor Dyer. We're all pulling for him to succeed, as I'm sure the mayors where you all live out there, listening around the country, around the world, pull for him to win. And there was high expectations for our mayor. But so far, there hasn't been much substance to a very substantive, at least we thought, candidate Dyer and Mayor Dyer. So we're going to talk about whether he can be reelected, because he said he's running. And if he is elected, is there any way he can salvage some sort of legacy here in Fresno? This is Al Autry Show with Bullet Bob Leone and Guillermo Moreno. We'll be right back.
Kellyanne Conway's ex-husband.
Oh, gosh, yes, they both. Is that his hair?
Yeah.
What? That's his hair?
Yeah.
God, he's going LBJ in the later years. You see LBJ in his later years?
No.
He became like the hippies that were protesting.
Did he really?
Hair down to here.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not. I got to see that picture.
Bob used to do a great LBJ imitation. My fellow Americans.
I come to you today not as your president, but as your friend. Can you loan your friend $1?
Because I plan on bombing Hanoi
fellow
again.
He always said that.
And he says, I come to you with a heavy heart.
Well, that's what W said, huh? So it must be a Texas thing. My fellow Americans.
Just follow my strategy, and we will get where we need to be as a country. These people, we've heard from you, and soon these people that did this will hear from all of us. Yeah. Great moment for him, wasn't it?
Oh, it was. Yeah. He had a lot of great moments. I think the Bushisms, though, were great. I got one question. Is our children learning?
Did he say
that? Yeah, the other one was fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. I can't be fooled.
Did you hear that story that the George H. Bush up in heaven walking around?
No.
He sees Moses, comes up, hey, Moses, can we talk? Moses just talking, turns running from him. George. So a couple of days later, he's out walking around in heaven. He sees Moses again. He says, hey, Moses. Moses doesn't even turn around. Here's the voice. Boom, gone. So the third time there, he walks into they're having some dinner there.
1 minute.
And he says, Moses. And Moses, there's no exit. He finds, yeah. Why do you run every time I come up and talk to you? And Moses says, the last time I talked to a bush, I spent 40 years in the wilderness.
I like that one. That's a good one.
Oh, that's great. I'm going to get a lot of emails on that. You don't think Jesus had a sense of humor? Oh, man. Don't you think?
You know he did.
Look at me. When the disciples stubbed their toe and Peter's jumping around there on one foot, that Jesus didn't laugh. I think he belly laughed.
See if he slips.
Yeah. Don't say it. Don't say it.
20 seconds.
Jesus has a big sense of humor.
Of course. He made us.
Exactly. I'm saying. And then took us back when we decided we thought we knew more than he did.
Exactly.
10 seconds.
Without any questions.
Well, he had to take the belt out on me to get my attention.
Well, some of us.
He told me, hey, now if you keep doing this, I'm going to have to take out the belt.
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk.
Talk
Radio 1550 KXEX.
Hey, how long we wait?
We don't have to wait till the midnight hour.
Oh,
we can wait till the midday hour
for the aliens.
Oh, that was a good one.
What a segue!
All right, let's go local here. Our Mayor Dyer. Some people think that the city of Fresno is in dire need of leadership. You want to stop me right now? People have. I'm getting a lot of flack locally. I mean, some people won't even talk because I've taken on the mayor on the premise that there's just been a stark lack of leadership.
Do something
on issues that are very important, from public safety to taking some stances in terms of a united city. He ran on a mantra of One Fresno, which is very close to Guillermo's heart. Guillermo embraced that right from the get-go. I say that with my tongue firmly in my cheek here. But there's been a series of missteps by the mayor, and I think has been given so many opportunities to actually lead. What comes to mind, the pride flag incident was a chance to really walk that One Fresno talk. He had well, first of all, let's say that the Fresno County Board of Supervisors saw the wisdom in flying the flag in an area where you can fly any flag that you want within reason, and what you fly over the county courthouse, which is just the American flag, the state flag, and the county flag, if they have one, which represents everyone. So they made a decision not to fly movement flags, political cause flags. And many on that board they love the NRA, but they would oppose the NRA flag flying up there, or a Christian flag, whatever. I think most of them are Christian, not all of them. But that's just not the appropriate place. Mayor Dyer, understood that as well. And he initially opposed the flying of the pride flag over City Hall. But a beautiful place over there at Eden Plaza here in town, where they have a bunch of beautiful flags and monuments. A great place for the pride flag. More people would actually see it at the Eden Plaza. But he changed his mind, didn't tell a couple of the councilmen who had supported him, just went and had a press conference, went back on his word, and raised the flag there, and thinking that that's bringing the people together. And many in the pride movement, I know people are going to get, I know because I have a lot of friends that are gay. I have friends that are trans. I mean, these are very close friends that I've had for a long, long time. And a couple of them support pride flag and all the stuff. And a lot of people that don't. They just don't. But if you mention that, you're some homophobe, that sort of thing. I'm just laying it out there, the truth. And it is divisive issue there. But there's been an issue we haven't heard one real tough press conference on public safety when crime is really out of control. They just throw out these stats. No, you didn't hear about that triple murder. Our stats of violent crime are way down here. And people know better. They know better. My question to you, Guillermo, start with you, is number one, he said he's going to run. Number one, can he win re-election if faced with a somewhat formidable opponent? And if he does win, does he have a chance? Where does he go to establish any kind of legacy here in the city of Fresno?
Well, the answer to your first question is, does Jerry Dyer have a shot of winning? And well, absolutely, especially as the field currently stands right now with Lauren Hubbard. I think is his only declared candidate against him. So he does. What is interesting, though, is if he has a formidable candidate, I have sources on the left, and they believe Jerry Dyer is extremely beatable because he barely, by 1.6%, barely avoided a runoff. And that was against a candidate, Andrew Jans, who really didn't mount a campaign at all. I mean, the guy didn't mount an effective campaign. I think there was already a deal in the works saying, hey, look, you're going to get out of the DA's office. We're going to make you city attorney. So I think there was a deal cut ahead of time. But the Democrats believe that he is extremely beatable. One of the names that I've heard floated, and this I haven't seen this reported, but Dr. Joaquin Arangulo, the assembly member.
That's formidable.
Is formidable. So is Jerry Dyer.
That is formidable plus.
It extremely is. And let me tell you where Jerry Dyer, I think of, if he jumps in, it doesn't mean that Jerry Dyer loses. It means that he'll make it to the runoff. If you have a conservative jump in plus a formidable lefty, then I think Jerry Dyer is in big trouble, because at that point in time, then you have two conservatives splitting the vote. The problem that Jerry has is he has lost a lot of conservative base. So if you have a conservative who's fairly popular in this city, they're going to split the vote. Arangulo might be able to just walk in 50%, just right over the runoff. So I think Jerry He's really got to play his cards. He really has to play his cards right. I'm curious next year how he tries to, make sure that the field stays the way it is. So make sure he clears the field on the right, because as long as he clears the field on the right, he's got a green light to maybe take it again in the primary, or a green light to the general. If you have a conservative challenge and he can't clear that field, I think he's got big problems. And I think they're like sharks. I think if they see that, the left will put up a formidable candidate.
You know where he, Bullet Bob, where he really disappointed me and lost me to some extent was when our DA Lisa Smith took on the governor with this AB 109, which has contributed more to out of control crime, that and Proposition 47 here in California, letting these violent criminals out early, year after year after year, just wreaking havoc on cities and counties around the state. There was this tragic incident in Selma where Carrasco, the young police officer, was killed by this guy who got an early release from the state. Should not have been out on the streets.
He'd only been out like 5 days or something, wasn't it?
Yes, clearly should never have been out. And this kid, a young father, it just shook the city of Fresno, city of Selma, Fresno, and really around the country. So tragic, so sad. Well, Lisa D.A. Schmidt-Camp took on Gavin Newsom. And Gavin Newsom fired back. He fired back. They had this bad. My question was, and I kept waiting, where was our mayor? That DA had your back. You have a long-running, number one, personal friendship with the individual. This is public safety. This is what you railed against as police. This was at meeting after meeting you had with me, how horrible this 47-109 was, that it had to be changed from his mouth to my ears and heart when I was mayor. And he said nothing. He left his DA to twist in the wind while the governor beat her like a political piñata.
Yeah.
And didn't say a word in her defense. Why? Because he was going to get some grant money.
He's getting money.
Okay, take it. But I mean, that was to me astonishing that your mayor would stay quiet while your DA is out there. Go ahead.
Guillermo touched on it. You mentioned it for months and months and months, Hoss, and you touched on it just a moment ago when you talked about he's losing some conservative. Conservative. I voted for the guy, but my notes right here in front of me. What's he done? What has he done during his period of time in office that's made a substantial difference in this city? Is it law and order? No. Is it improvement in infrastructure? No. Is it supporting our district attorney against the governor? No.
Water?
Put up a pride flag. But he hasn't done anything.
He did get the homeless off the freeways. I'll give him credit.
Okay. Him and H.
All right.
Him and H.
HB's was the real mover and shaker behind that. If you really want to put it into perspective, HB's was the driving force behind that. Now, obviously, he had to have help from the mayor. But on the basic safety of individuals, of residents of the city of Fresno, what has he done?
You know,
that is one of the primary functions of city government, of any government, is the protection and safety of its citizens.
I couldn't agree with you more, Pearl.
So you look at his record, and I say, bring on somebody, bring on a formidable foe. Arambula.
Well, let me tell you, that Arambula name has clout.
But let me ask you this: isn't Jerry Dyer owed this as mayor? I mean, don't we owe him that because he has served so long? When I look at Jerry, I think that's maybe the mentality of like, hey, I served my city for 18 years as police chief. Like, it's my due. Like, you kind of owe me this. I feel like that's a sense that I'm getting. The other thing is, Mayor Dyer, I think at the end of his term, I don't think he's going to be remembered as mayor. I think the people are always going to remember him as Chief Dyer because that was his time where he really...
See, I think he's so paranoid of that.
And he doesn't want to be remembered as the law and order tough guy.
That's what
he doesn't want, and which is why he doesn't stand behind Paco, which is why you don't see him out there really, coming down.
Telling the gang members we're coming after you.
He doesn't. He's trying to shake that off.
And here's the deal. he loves to be a deal maker. And it's all right. As a leader, I get that.
Yeah.
A compromiser. You know, as Reagan said, I get 60% of what I want. That's better than zero. And he was for that. I subscribe to that. But here's the difference. When you're dealing and the stuff is on the table, what can't be on the table is your basic principles. Mm-hmm. You don't say, well, law and order is a basic principle that every mayor raises his hand to provide public safety for his people, to provide equal access to opportunity, education, quality of life. You go down the list. That can't be negotiable. Now, where you put this amount of money for infrastructure in this council district, where you, with this developer over here, if you go here, then I'll give you some breaks over here. And that kind of dickering and compromising and deal-making is fine. But you don't put on the table going, listen, if to Newsom, if you give me some grant money, then I won't support my DA on public safety. Even though we got crime out of control in Fresno. You can't make that deal. Yeah. They tried to do that to me as mayor up in Sacramento. They tried to get me to sell out. Because I would talk to them, the previous administration wouldn't talk to them. They saw that as willing to communicate as weakness. And that's why I had to take on the governor. I had to take on Burton up there from the Bay Area. And I'm not saying, hey, look at me, I was great, but I'm not trying to toot my horn. What I'm saying is anybody who grew up here in the Valley knows that if you're going to get what you need for Fresno, what you really need, not what you want, but what you really need, it's going to be a fight. You got to be willing to take on the power, truth to power, as they say. People say about this great relationship I had with Schwarzenegger. Well, I did, but I had to take him on first.
Yeah, you did.
Well,
he's got to take on Newsom and not sell out. Well, I got $120 million for infrastructure, so you're going to buy some property and the toilets will flush faster. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I think there are a lot of folks.
That doesn't rise to public safety.
No.
Back up your DA. Say, Governor, that's out of line.
No excuse for that. None.
My DA is correct.
Leadership's tough.
And by the way,
tough.
By the way, I'm going to lead the charge to reform
you gotta do it.
109. I'm going to go to the Conference of Mayors. I'm going to lead that charge. Right?
Absolutely.
He's the police chief.
Yeah.
Former.
He's got that reputation.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. I think for some inexplicable reason, you're right. Folks, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate it so much. Taco Tuesday. We didn't get to get Chewy. We'll get Chewy. Gosh.
He was having lunch.
Do we have time to get Chewy? No. We'll have Chewy on his eye. We'll get Chewy on Big Wisdom. Love you, folks. God bless you. God bless America. And just do your best. Let God do the rest. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
See you, folks.